bringing you another video for the Older Woman Shall Teach the Younger Woman series. Okay, today's video is going to be about making soap. The soap making, or soaping as some people call it. It's not going to be a too in-depth video. I'm just going to go over a few things that you may use in the soap making process. And go over some words that's used when you make soap in the soaping community. Now, the reason why I think it's important for us to learn how to make our own soap as Hebrew women, wives, and mothers, grandmothers, is that you can believe that the soap that you buy in the store has lard in it, pork lard. Yes, I'm willing to bet that it all does, except if it's not listed as a vegetable soap, like olive oil soap or vegetable-based soap, then you can believe that it has lard in it. Yes, some soaps also have beef tallow, but lard is cheap to get, so a lot of soaps are made with it. So that is the number one reason why we should be making our own soap. Number two is it's cheaper to be able to make your own soap because most of the stuff you need to make soap you have in your own home already. Okay, and the number one thing that you need to make soap besides the other ingredients is a oil or a fat, you know, a vegetable oil or animal fat. Like they use lard, beef tallow, you know, and other animal fats depending on where they are around the world. Soap is made out of two ingredients, basic two ingredients, lye and some kind of fat. That's it. All right, now, one of the words you will hear when it comes to soap making is the word sponification. And that only means when oil and the lye comes together, it's the process of making soap, okay? Now, another way a person can make soap if they're scared to mess with the lye is what's called melt and pour. But melt and pour is also good to teach our young bots how to make soap. So you can get one of those kits, you mothers with daughters, for young ones who want to learn how to make soap. Start off with the melt and pour, but make sure you get a good kit with vegetable-based oils. Okay. So now let's get into our soap making process. I had to come back and insert this into the video because there is something that I was supposed to do that I forgot to do. Like always, before you start doing anything, you get yourself a book. So this is a soaping book. This is the Complete Soap Maker. Always invest in a good book when you're about to start on a new adventure, whether it's soaping, canning, getting involved in essential oils, anything that you do, you need to have a good book, and always get that book and read through it before you even start, you know, doing all of this stuff. It gives you some good instruction. It tells you all about, you know, the things that I was just telling you about, all the different tools and things that you'll need, the different oils you might need in a specific recipe of soap, but always get you a good book. Okay, now we can go on with the video. First thing we're going to talk about is the two different processes that are used to make soap. You have what's called cold process and hot process. Okay, and I'm going to go over both of those as we go along. All right, now, when you make soap, you have to have certain utensils, certain things. And you have to have those utensils and bowls and everything for soap making only, because once you use something in your kitchen to make soap and to mix with lye, you can never use it ever again for food. Okay, you have to just say, okay, this is now part of my soap making utensils, and so you put it with your soap making utensils. And so don't you decide to use one of your good bowls or your good pots of pots or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's stainless steel, and it doesn't matter if your bowl is glass. Once you mix lye in it, put it aside, mark it as my soap making dishes and utensils. Okay, now, like I said, you only need two things to make soap, and that is a fat and lye. Okay, I have two types of lye here, and I'm gonna go over what you use both of them for. Okay, this lye right here, this is called sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is used for making bar soaps. Okay, this is also this is what they call a food grade lye. They, for some reason, they use it to make pretzels and all that other stuff. But anyway, this is the food grade lye, and I got this lye from, it's called Essential Depot. They offer one of the purest lyes out there. Okay, now lye is very, very caustic, and you need to keep this away from children at all time. And you never ever mix lye when you're doing your soap making. You never ever mix this when you have children running around, or even if you have animals running around. If you have small children who will likely want to be under your feet while you're doing this, while you're soaping, you need to pick a time when they're napping, or if they're old enough to be in school, or when they're in school, or if you homeschool, just at night when they go to bed. You can soap when they go to bed, but you never want to do this with children running around. Okay, now, then we have soap flakes. This is potassium hydroxide. This is for making liquid soaps, like liquid Castile soaps and dishwashing liquids and hand soaps, that you put in the bathroom for your hand soaps. You would use this one, okay? And this is also caustic. Lye is very caustic, and you never want to put this stuff in a damp spot. You don't want it to be in contact with any water till it's time for you to put it in the water yourself to make soap. So yeah, keep this out of reach of children. This stuff really should be under lock and key, just like you would do a gun, all right? Because it's just that bad. You could do some damage, real damage with this if you're not careful. So that's the lye. Okay, now, you have your fats and your oils. Like you have the best that I know of would be an olive oil and a coconut oil. These two would make an awesome body soap. It'll also make an awesome soap for making laundry detergent, and that would probably be one of the first soaps that I do for this series when I make the soap. Okay, now this is the general stuff that you need to make soap. You need to have oil or fat, and you need lye. Okay, now you also, to get started, you need a scale to weigh out everything. Everything has to be weighed specifically. What's the word I'm looking for? Precise. It has to be precise. So you have a scale. You have to weigh it in. Okay. Now you also have your utensils that you're only going to be using to make lye, and like I said, once you use those, you can never use it for nothing else. But before you even start mixing lye, okay, because that's going to be one of your first steps, is mixing your lye, you're going to need some gloves and eye protection. And always wear long sleeves. And I would never even recommend making soap, messing with lye in flip-flops. Put some shoes on your feet, okay? That's the first thing you're going to do. Before you even do this, you are going to put your protection on, all right? Make sure you got apron, long sleeves. Then you start from there. Okay, like I said, you're going to weigh everything. So once you put your protection on, You're going to have water in your cup. Now, you can get your water before your protection on, but you're going to get you some distilled water, whatever the recipe calls for, and you're going to put it in a container. Now, I'm only using this one as a demonstration. I would recommend a pitcher, a quart pitcher maybe, that's deep. Because when you put your water in here, then you weigh your lye out, and then you're going to pour your lye into your water, because you never, ever, 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 ever pour water on top of lye, because you can cause an explosion, okay? And when you put your lye in your water, you're going to do it in a ventilated area. And like I said, you're going to make sure there are no pets, no children around that could get hurt while you're doing this, okay? Now, so with that, okay, we weighed our lye out, we have our utensils, okay, we did all that. Now, after every step, after you get finished mixing your lye in your water and you set it aside, then when you melt your oils, you want to rinse everything out. And when you're done, rinse it out, okay? Rinse it out. Once you pour your lye in your oils, rinse it out, okay? Now, all right, like I said, when you're doing this part, you're going to have protection. Now, when you cold process soap, okay, because that's where we are, we got our lye in this cup right here, and we want it to come down to at least 110 degrees. Okay, we're going to put our oils. Don't laugh at my popcorn container, but this is what I'm using it for now. You know, I'm putting all my melted oils. If they're like coconut oil, it melts, okay? You want to melt, put your oils in here, and then you slowly pour your lye in your oils, okay? Like I said, you're going to take these and you're going to rinse them out. Okay, now, another thing I meant to mention. When you're working with lye, always have vinegar around. Have a bottle of vinegar, because vinegar will neutralize the lye if you get it on your skin. You know, it'll neutralize the burning, okay? Remember. All right, now, we need a container to mix our oils and lye in. This is our cold process, so we're going to need this container, okay? And we're going to mix it all up, make sure it's all in there good. But then you might want to invest in this. We call it a hand blender or a stick blender, but they call it an emulsifier, something like that, which is very good for soaping, because it helps bring your soap to what's called trace. That's another one of those soaping words. When you make soap, you see trace, and trace is just when it gets thick enough where it looks like pudding or something like that. Anyway, once you do that, you pour your soap into a mold, okay? Once you're finished, you pour it in the mold. This is a soaping mold, okay? This is just a little one. And you pour it in here, and what you do is you let that sit in this mold overnight, all right? And then the next day, you can cut your soap, but then you have to let it dry, and you let this dry and cure for like 6 weeks, okay? Until the lye dies out, until it evaporates. Because you can't use it until then, because the lye is still alive and it'll still burn. It's still toxic. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, so anyway, couldn't get that word out for nothing. Where is it? It's on this bottle. Anyway, you leave it in, you take it out, you cut it, and you let it dry and cure for 6 weeks, okay? Now, the other process is called hot process. What hot process is cooking out the lye, okay? Now, there are different ways for hot process. You do the same process with your lyes, you know, and your oils. You do everything the same, except for you're going to cook that mixture, okay? And what a lot of people use to do that is this. Yes, it's as simple as this, a crock pot. You cook your soap in a crock pot. You can go to a thrift store, because you're not going to do this in your good crock pots. You go to the thrift store and find them, or if you just want to buy a new one at Walmart somewhere, you can. But you go to the thrift stores and find these all day long, because you might want to be cooking 3 or 4 different soaps at one time. Okay. Now, another way to process, do hot process, is in the oven, and also in a double boiler. You know, those are the 3 ways you could do hot process. Now, usually you cook your soap from anywhere from 1.5 to 2 hours to make sure all the lye is dead. And then when you're done, you do the same thing. You put that soap in a mold, but it's going to be a little different because it's not going to be running. So you're going to have to actually spread it in, okay? And then you let it sit in here for a few hours, and you take it out, and you cut it. And actually, when you cook your soap like that, you could actually use it right away, but it is better when you let it sit for about a week or so, okay? Now, some people make plain soap, and other times, if you want, at certain points, you can put your essential oils in, like when you're cold processing. You can mix it in there just before you put it in your molds, and after it, the temperature comes down a bit. And when you cooking your soap, you want to get your soaps down below, from anywhere 160 and below, to mix in your essential oils. Because if you put it in essential oils while the soap is still extremely hot, you just burn it up, and you won't have the scent. Okay, and like I said, every utensil you use in soap making will remain soap making utensils. You will never ever use them for nothing else. Okay, like I said, this isn't a all out video on soap making. Just basic things that you need, like your scale and your stick blender, and if you want to do hot process, that thing. Oh my goodness, Mama, I'm just snot all here today. Your crock pot. Yeah, your crock pot, or like I said, a double boiler, or you can do it in the oven. And another thing, never do soap in aluminum, because lye reacts to aluminum. Make sure your pots are all stainless steel, okay? And make sure that your utensils you use are either plastic or stainless steel. You can also use glass, but you have to be very, very careful when you use glass. You can mix lye in mason jars, because mason jars can stand, the heat, because of course we process them in pressure canners and stuff. But you can mix it in those. But I would just recommend a good thick plastic pitcher for mixing your lye in. So, if you guys have any questions that I think I might be able to answer, just ask them in your replies, and I'll try to get to them as fast as I can. And I've had a good time explaining some of these things with soap making. And remember this. I want you to remember this too. When you decide to try to make your soap for the first time, okay, when you go to the store, and you buy oils, never buy oil blends, okay? Because you know how they make corn oil and canola oil mixed together, and different oils. Never get a blend of oil. Get olive oil and get coconut oil, or soybean oil, as we know as vegetable oil. If you're gonna buy oil, just make sure it's just that one oil. Never buy a oil blend. Okay, so because when you do the math, when you weigh that, it's just too much. And I'm also going to do a second part to this and talk about, it's not a long one, but it talks about soap calculators. It tells you how to go and use this. Well, no, I'll go ahead and finish it here online, and I'll put a link to it in the description box. There's what's called a soap calculator. It tells you how many ounces of oil you need and how much lye you need and how much water you need. It tells you everything you need to know. So anything else I can think of that I think will go nicely with this information, I'll put it all in the description box. So with that, I'm trying to see if I need anything else, to say anything else. Oh, with your soap molds, you can use cardboard boxes for cold processed soap with line them with plastic bags. I'll have to probably do that on another video to show you. So anyway, that's it for this video for today. And like I said, I'll just do another one to show some other things that I forgot on this one. So with that, I'm going to say shalom aleichem.